want to rise high. And we have to see it to be it. We have to see that. Begin to see with the eye behind the eye, hear with the ear behind the ear, feel with the heart behind the heart. See with the eye behind the eye, hear with the ear behind the ear, feel with the heart behind the heart. So that they can see the invisible, hear the inaudible, do the impossible.
Hello, my name is Sensei Devin Fernandez, and I am a blind ninja. We're coming to you today from the Long Island Ninjutsu Centers in West Islip, where we train in 21st century ninjutsu. It is our intention at Third Eye Insight to help motivate, encourage, and inspire the visually impaired population to live an active and healthy lifestyle. As with any exercise program, you should consult your physician to make sure that you are heart healthy in order to participate in the program. Over the next few classes, we will promote prominent martial artists and their styles of self-defense. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce to you today one of Long Island's elite and world-renowned martial artists, Long Island Ninjutsu's founder, chief instructor, and owner for over 25 years, Shihan Allie Alberigo, and my instructor as well. Good afternoon, Shihan. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Sensei Devin. It's great to be here and be a part of your show.
Excellent, thank you. I have a question for you. A lot of people ask, what's the difference between a teacher and an instructor?
Wow, there's a big difference. Maybe we should say a sensei, because in the martial arts we call people sensei when they get their black belt, right? Or an instructor, or you say a teacher and an instructor. I think that maybe a sensei in the word means teacher, but however, just because you have the title doesn't mean that you're a great teacher, right? It's important for everybody to understand that, a great teacher takes much more than just getting a title. Like if we equated it to regular school, elementary school teacher or a high school teacher, they could go through the degree and get the degree from college, and then they have to go in front of a classroom. But do they inspire people? Do they create that desire in the student to get them to learn and really want to learn and be great at what they do in life? And that's what I believe a sensei does, a real sensei, a real teacher. And that's the difference between just an instructor and a real teacher, right? Or vice versa, however you want to word it, teacher, instructor. But the ones that do it really well are the ones that inspire the desire to learn and adapt whatever they learn in the martial arts or in life into their everyday lives. And that's an incredible thing. And if you're one of those guys, and that's incredible that you now have taken your disadvantage, we call it, right? And now you've turned it into something really special. And now you're inspiring hundreds of people, not just locally, but world-renowned. You've been in seminars with me, and people have watched you, and they're amazed by what you do. And it doesn't allow people to have any excuses, right? Because you've overcome so many things.
There's no boundaries.
There are no boundaries. It's limitless, right? And that's what a teacher does. They inspire. They inspire others to be the best that they can be.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah.
I understand. I know you have over 40 years of martial arts experience. So we had a few concerns among our blind community, and maybe you can look into your tool bag and come up with some answers for these concerns.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I'm actually celebrating my 46th year of doing martial arts right now. I started when I was a baby, 3 years old. My dad and mom got me involved and put me in it, and I've been doing it ever since. And as you said before in the introduction, we've had our schools going on 25 years, and it's just a blessing to be able to help people and change their lives. So I'm excited to work with your students and show them a few moves and see if I could help them out.
Absolutely. Okay, very good. So let's begin.
Okay.
Shisheo Tadaste, Shion Nire.
Onegaishimasu.
So guys, I'm honored to be here. It's a pleasure, and I really appreciate you being in this dojo training, and I'm really proud of all of you. Any questions on the martial arts today? Anything that I could do to help you with things that you find are a struggle within your everyday lives? Do you have a question?
Yes, I am concerned about if someone were to grab me by the wrist and pull me into a car or a building, what I would do.
Okay, so someone grabbing you and trying to take you somewhere against your will, or
Right.
behind something, or, you know, whatever, how to escape, that kind of thing. Okay, great question, we'll go over that. Who else?
What does one do if knocked to the ground and your assailant's on top of you?
Okay, so almost like you're in a grappling situation. You could even not necessarily be knocked to the ground, but you could be on the ground. You could be on a bench sitting. You could be at a beach laying on, you know, beach towel. So anything from the ground where someone is on top of you or trying to, you know, take you to that position and hold you down, right? That's another great question. Anyone else?
I have a concern. What happens if you get grabbed from behind?
So attacks from behind. So you're walking and someone comes up and attacks you.
Hey,
Okay, all great questions. So that'd be awesome.
Beautiful.
Why don't we do this? Why don't you pair off real quickly? And then I'll demonstrate a technique and I'll explain it to you. So let's find some partners real quick. And- Okay, so we'll explain it. So if you want, just have a quick seat, sit Indian style, cross legs or seiso, whatever's good for you. So the first question was grabbed and pulled, taken, right?
Hi.
So the good thing with being in this situation and having the disadvantage of being visually impaired is that when someone grabs you, you know where they're at, right? So it's not like they're from a distance and you can't see them and they throw a punch at you. Now they're on you, which actually is a good thing. In the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu arts, back in the day of the UFC, they used to love to wear their uniform, their gi, because they believed that it created people to want to grab them more because they had a uniform. Now they don't wear tops, so it's just bare skin. But when you have a grabbing surface, people will tend to grab. So if they grab onto you, you're at an advantage, right? So let's say, I'm going to explain this. I'm going to do it with you, Sensei. So come right here, stand right there. So reach up and grab me on the hand. Let's do same side grab. So in his left shoulder, left arm is grabbing my right arm. We call it same side. It's actually his left to my right. But so that he's grabbing me, and maybe if he tries to pull me, right, he pulls me, right? As he's pulling me, the one thing I want to resist is actually resisting. I don't want to stop and fight back because then it becomes a tug of war, and he tugs even stronger, and the stronger person will win at that point. So when he grabs me, if he pulls me, I just walk with him and go. It takes away the advantage. I let him tug to me. But as he tugs me and I move in, I'm going to just put my hand as if it were my right hand on the top of a table. And I'm just basically going to take my thumb and point it outward, so my hand is wide spread on the top of the table, and I'm going to spin my body. So in this case, I'm spinning to my right. I pivot and I keep my hand solid, and I just pop my hand right out. Okay? Or I could let him grab me, and then I could go into a wrist lock, or I could grab him back, or strike from this position, and then pull my hand out, right? So again, one more time, he reaches up, he grabs me. I don't want to resist too much, so I basically either one, do an atemi, a strike to the face, or a strike to the body to get him to loosen up, and then I take my hand and I peel, I spin towards my right in a counterclockwise position, and I pop my hand out. Now I'm going to just change angles. Hey. Devin, let's move you over here so we can do this from a different angle. So he reaches up and grabs me. Right? And my hand is like laying on the top of the table. He pulls, I go with him, I can strike to him, and then I just pop my hand right out, spinning it as if I were wiping and turning my hand on the top of the table. Does that make sense?
Hey.
Okay, let's stand up and try it, and we'll come around and we will show you. So let's work on that. This works on left side, right side, cross grab, straight grab, any grab. So let's have you. You've never done this? Yeah, you reach up and grab her. Okay, now where's your table? Put your hand on the table. Okay, there you go. Hold your fingers widespread. And now, this hand is on the table still. And you're going to spin and twist this one. There you go. Pops right out, doesn't it? Now she grabs you, let her grab you again. Same. And if she pulls you, fight back. Right? Now if she pulls you, go with her. Yeah, see how easy it is? So there's no resistance, right? Because resistance meets resistance. Okay, so one more time, go back again. So when she tugs you, go with her a little and then spin on top of the table. Boom, you're out. Simple, right? Try it both hands, right and left, and let's let the young lady. So where's your table? So he pulls you. You go with it, and then you spin out.
You're not supposed to let go. You can't hold on.
Good. Now, of course, he grabs now, bend your elbow.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
So let's do this. Turn to me. Okay, so you grab my wrist.
Right there, I'm holding your
Okay,
hand
so I open up my fingers nice and wide. I step in, and as I'm stepping in, I'm kind of bringing my thumb to my own belly.
Right.
All right? So now I'm going to step back, and as I step back, you see what's happening to your finger?
You're trying to, right.
You can't hold on because it's
I
just
can't
your
hold on
thumb.
because I'm stretching my thumb out.
Right.
I can feel the pull in it, yes.
Exactly, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So, go ahead, grab.
Can we try it?
Grab on tight.
Okay.
Right, so open my hands, right? Tabletop.
Right.
Bring my thumb to my belly.
Right.
And as I step around, I want to,
Yep,
see, you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
hold on right
I
here.
can't
I haven't
hold
even
on.
moved yet.
Yeah, right,
So-
and you got me, yeah.
Okay, and then I'm off. The gravity's
Okay.
gone.
Now remember, you have your other hand too, so this,
Yes.
if I got you and you're struggling, this other hand will strike,
Right,
right?
right. 'cause I
You could
can
use
feel
your
it.
fingers to my eyes if you
Right.
had your claw strike to scratch me,
Right.
then you peel out.
Okay,
And you peel out, spin, twist that hand,
right,
thumb, and pull out. There
right.
you go, got the
Okay.
idea?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay?
Right,
So,
good job.
now,
Sensei Devin just moved over to the, towards the
Now step forward with your left foot.
Stay close.
Bring your left arm up to your belly. Now you turn towards me, spin your back. Going. Boom. Perfect.
all the way around, but then can I?
So we're shoulder to shoulder. You don't want to go over here. Come here, you press towards me. You get the elbow and break out. This foot will then come back. I'll show you here. Grab it. 1, 2.
Remember one thing, that the beauty is if someone grabs you now, you know where they're at. So you should be able to know, based on their body, you know that if they're grabbing you with their hand, that right up the shoulder is a head, right? So hopefully it's not the headless horseman where you swing and there's nothing there, right? So it's always going to be, the body and the way it's made up, so you have that advantage. You know you could strike, you could grab, you could hit, you could scratch, you could do whatever those things you need to do to get that release, okay? To get that hand to come off, okay? What was the second question again? What was it, something from behind?
Some
Third question.
That was the second question?
Second
was?
was, what do we do if someone's on top of you?
Okay, why don't we do second question first and then we'll work on the ground after, okay? So second question was somebody grabs you from behind, right? So, right, your question was, what if someone comes up from behind you? First thing I want you to do is the same concept again, they have you. The one thing you need to know is that there's a few vital areas that you need to protect, and one is your air supply in your throat, right? So if they choke you, you're gonna pass out and you're in trouble. So what we wanna do is protect our throat. So let me use you, Robert. And just stay right there. So let's just say Robert is the bad guy. I'm facing the opposite direction. He comes over the top of my arms like an overarm bear hug. His arms are over the top of my arms, right? The first thing I need to do is become like a balloon, and I fill with air. So the minute reach around me again, the minute he reaches around, I breathe in. So I become bigger than I normally am, right? So it's wide. So what happens is now, tighten down on me as much as you can. Now when I let my air out, I'm gonna drop my body weight down. So I'm gonna breathe out quickly and make myself smaller and drop. When I do that, my body goes lower than his hands, and his hands come up to my shoulders. And I'm basically gonna grab one or two of the hands with my hands. My right hand is gonna elbow to the body. My left hand is gonna kind of hinge down and strike to the groin. And then I'm basically gonna just do a spinning throw, which is not a flip in the air. I'm just gonna step and bring him down. And I'm gonna show you that individually, but all I did was I stepped into a front leaning stance, and I pulled him over my leg, tripping him over my leg. It's like almost as someone was walking and you stuck your foot out in front of them and they hit your leg and they tumbled over you, right? Same exact concept. So again, first move is what? He reaches around and I expand so that he doesn't get a tight grip on me. Because if I don't, he gets down on me, now I can't fight him because he's locked in. So I'm big. When I breathe out, I drop. And I drop down and I grab onto his shoulder and his hand. My left grabs his wrist, my right grabs his shoulder. I step to my left side. I strike with an elbow to get him to loosen up a little. I strike with the right palm to the groin. And then I peel the hand off so I'm only holding one. And I go to my front leaning stance and I bring him over my standing leg. Sounds like it hurt, right? Because he's just slapping on the mat, but he's really just doing the proper fall. One more time. Let's change angles. Actually, stay right there. So I'm here. He reaches around me. I expand. I breathe out and I drop. Elbow, groin strike, peel the arm off, step to my front leaning stance, and bring him over. Understood?
Hey.
Okay, let's try it and we'll work together. And I will help you. Okay, so pair off real quick. The minute you go higher, go higher. Breathe out and hold and pull your arms out like you're muscle bound. Yeah, there you go, just like that. Now what I want you to do is when you breathe out, drop down. Ready to go? Open those arms. Good. Step a little to the left of your left foot. Okay, so she's elbow to his ribs. Your arms, we'll use this hand and grab. Elbow to the ribs. Groin strike. Boom. Good. Pop his arms open using his fist. No, let go. Let go. Let go. Grab. And then grab. And push his hand away from you. Yeah. Now grab this on the wrist still. Stay on the wrist. Same hand. Okay. Now make a front leaning stance to your left. Pull him over your left. Yeah. There you go. Because see how off balance he was? Try it. Do it again. Keep going easy. Let's try to remember all the rules. Grab you, expand. Now drop down into a good stance. Low horse stance. Good. Let your air out. Grab his wrist and his arm. Good. Elbow, groin strike. Boom. Grab him. Get to your front leaning stance. And pull him over, make him fall over your legs. There you go. That's it. And that's the movement. What you want to do is like this, just like we do a basic sweep. We want to just put our leg in front of him. See, like this, and block it so that when we pull him over, he trips over that leg. Right? And when I do it, I use a hand. So when I hit your belly, this hand immediately hinges down. Boom, boom. So it's this motion. Right? You don't have to do anything but just hinge down. See, that's where you're striking. Like a hammer, so it's here. Right, so it's 1, 2, boom. Not, yeah, and then you grab and then step to his front leaner and bring him over. There you go. And you're actually lifting him, which is even harder. You don't need to lift them though. You basically just have to, let me hold you, I'm not going to throw you. I'm putting my foot in front of you, so, and then I pull you over that. Okay? It's basically being tripped. It's like trip. And grab. And now step to a front leaning stance. That's it. There you go. See that? Good job. Very nice. See, look at how happy you are.
Now the other hand grabs my shoulder. Good. Now you're going to turn sides.
Yeah.
If you want, you could sit. I'm going to demonstrate or explain and demonstrate the third one, which is ground techniques, right? So if someone takes me to the ground, like there's a lot of that going on where there are grapplers and they bring you to the ground or they throw you on the ground. You know, a guy attacking a girl, you know, getting them on the ground and trying to hold them down, or a guy getting on top and punching the other guy who's on the ground. We have to remember that the most important thing is to know how to keep balance and also how to get them off of you, okay? So for example, Robert, let's use you. Let's just say I'm on the ground. I fell down, he knocked me down, I was laying down and he gets on top of me, right? So first thing is position, there's two positions. So let's say he's on top of me, holding me down. His body's just sitting top mount. He's on top of me, so his hips are straddled over the top of my hips. His body is on top of me so that I'm able to still use my feet and still use my hands. So what I want to do is I want to bring my butt and bring my knee into his butt, hitting it up to his butt here, his leg, so it's tight. And then I'm going to grab his arm and hold it so that his leg is locked and his arm is locked. And then I'm going to raise my belly by arching my back up to the sky and roll right over him. Got the idea? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense so far? So let me demonstrate it one more time from a different angle. So he's on top of me. However he got on top of me, he's on top of me. What I want to do is I want to knee him in the butt, hook my left to his leg so that my left leg is scooping over his leg. I grab his arm because I want to hold it tight to me. I use my other leg so they can arch my body up. I want to push my belly up to the sky and angle him to his right, my left. So I do this. And I bring him up, and I get into position. So now he's off of me now, and I'm on top of him. What I'm ending up in, though, what we call the guard position, where his legs are around my back. But that's okay, because he used to be on top, and now he's not. That's the first most important thing is learning how to actually get out of that move. Okay? So let's try that. Let's get one person on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, one person on the ground.
I will crush you.
Okay, so now, what I need for you to do is decide what side you want to bring her to. So you're gonna go to the right. So you scoop up her arm, just hold it, wrap over it, and that's all you need to do. In fact, you probably want to put your hands on the floor. So if you are in top position, you want to hold her down, right? She'll scoop an arm. Now, knee her in the butt. This one, right? Per leg. Yeah. Now, arch your belly to the sky, and I want her to come over your right shoulder. Here you go. How cool was that? Now get on top of her. So let's stay where you are and let her climb on top of you. So move your leg down. And now she's over you. I want you to scoop an arm. Yeah, either over or under, right? Okay? Now knee her in the butt. And bring your leg around and scoop that leg. Now arch your shoulder to your right shoulder. Arch her and bring her over towards me. Push. There you go. But I want a little bit more of an arch. That was really good though. More of like a belly to the sky, real high push. And it's the whole thought is almost pushing her over your shoulder. You don't want to push her to the side. You want to push her over your shoulder. So if you're on the ground, do it one more time.
It's almost like you're launching it. That's how I like it.
Yeah, there you go. So ready, you grab the arm. Good, grab the leg, knee to the butt. And scoop it, use your other leg to push, and I want you to push her towards me up now. That's better, much better. Very
Much
good.
stronger.
Good. Now, hook that arm, hook her arm, wrap her arm, good. Elbow, knee her, and hook it. Now bring her to me. Push with your belly all the way up towards me. No, hook your leg, hook your leg. Hook and push with this foot up and push towards me. That's it. There you go.
But you let me go.
Yeah, don't ever let her go. Stay on top of her.
Do it again.
What I want to do is I want to add just a little bit to that. So whoever's on top, just so you guys make sure that you protect your face, all right? The guy on top, I want you to smack the person on the head, okay, side to side. I don't want you to hit him hard. I just want you to be aware that you got to get your hands up there. And the reason that you wrap that arm and hold that hand is so that's one hand that's not smacking you, okay? While the other one is smacking you or trying to hit you, you can always just block with that. That's your time to take that person off balance. Okay? Because now he's got nothing. You got his arm, you're locking him in, and his other hand's up in the air. He's got nothing to hold on to, stopping you from pulling him over. All right? And that's what Shihan meant by stopping him from posting. So if you don't wrap that arm, and you try to bump me off of you, I'm just going to move my hand and stop you. Boom. And then come back to the other side. Boom. You'll exhaust yourself before you get that guy off of you. All right? And then it's over. Okay? So again, you're going to wrap, you're going to bump, you're going to turn, and on that bump, he was also mentioning that you take that foot, that opposite foot of the direction, and spin it over the person. So it gives you momentum to bring your body over. All right? So that kind of helps you get that person off of you. All right? And then again, remember, there's no rules here. So if you got to poke the person in the face, that's fine. Poke them in the face. If you got to reach up and grab the ear and pull on the ear and tear the ear off, that helps too. Okay? You get your finger in their nose, pull out, pull the nostrils. All right? The throat is always there. You always squeeze the throat. And when you add all these distractions, a person's thinking, oh my goodness, what do they do? Yeah, I wanted somebody easy. And now I'm fighting for my own safety, my own protection. All right, so let's do it again.
And now I go over, right?
And then what you do automatically,
You go right way?
you're responsible for crushing. Because now that's your, like, trying to see if I got you like that. And, but I
Okay, let's try that again. Now you're on top. Now you have.
Now remember, the chest. You're trying to really take your
Now you want to advance.
We had a good question over there from the team. They asked, like, what if he's so heavy and you can't lift him? Well, then this is not the technique, right? There's always a what if scenario, right? But there's always got to be another option, right? So remember, this is not sport. This is life and death situations where you're doing self-defense. So there are no rules in this particular situation. In other words, that you're not going to tap and then the guy will let you go. No, they're trying to hurt you. They're trying to do some damage to you physically, mentally, spiritually. So, there's nothing that says that you can't claw to the eyes or bite if you had to or do any of those things because, again, the whole end result is you should end up coming home at night safe, right? And sometimes, as they say, there are no rules in war. You know, it's not fair in war. You fight to survive. Obviously, you're not going out there starting trouble. Make sense? I'm going to quickly, just for the camera's purpose, and I'll explain it to you guys so you can hear me while I'm doing it, but then the camera will show this to the crowd. So I'm on my back. My feet are planted. Left and right foot are planted. I've already hooked with one leg, my right. I already hooked with my right arm. So now the reason why I do the hook on the right and the left is so that they can't reach out and base themselves. Right? So now when I arch my stomach to the sky, I want to think of myself as putting my belt, my obi, my belly button over my right shoulder. So I'm not arching and going sideways left and right. There is no left and right. What I am doing is arching over my right shoulder or my left shoulder. So my belt is pushing to my shoulder so that they're going over my shoulder. So the angle is from my hip over my shoulder. So I arch up to my shoulder and I push to my right. So now that they're falling and I'm dumping them over my shoulder to the right. If I arch to the left, I lift up, I push, and I arch to my left shoulder and I arch. Now when I do it to the right, this is a practice that you could do by yourselves, is you arch up with your foot, your belly is off the ground, your back is not touching anymore. I'm going to my right shoulder and I push and I lean and I flip my body over and I end up on my hands and knees. So it might be hard for you to visualize that, but you're going to be able to doing it in class, but that's for the camera's purpose to see what angles we do, and we'll show it to you. And Sensei Devin was showing them by pulling their belts towards their right shoulder, so that they could feel how their body is supposed to arch and spin and turn. Does that all make sense? I hope I answered all your questions. Right? I had fun. I'm honored. You know, you guys are an inspiration. Right? If my students could see, and which Sensei Devin and I did a training class together, and we spent 20 hours together over the course of a weekend. Everyone was sighted in the room, and all they were so amazed by Sensei Devin's ability to be able to focus and to hear and listen and do, rather than having to see it 35 times. He didn't see it, and he could learn it and do it. You guys have that advantage because you listen, you focus, and you're an inspiration. So I really appreciate you guys coming to the dojo and training, but keep up the great work, and I'm honored to be here with you, okay? Let's go into Seiza on our knees, and we can bow right from Seiza. So turn and face my voice if you could. Good. And from Seiza, you could do it from standing. Ready? And facing my voice, and just left hand on the floor, right hand on the floor. And we bow. So good class, you guys. Thank you,
There you go, perfect, yes.
Very good. Yes, you can.
Good. That was a good exercise.
Make sure this stays where it is. Too small. There you go. You see this happening? See? So now.
If you have any questions for our guests or any questions on the techniques demonstrated today, you can visit us at www.thirdeyeinsight.org, or you can email me at info@thirdeyeinsight.org.
We want to rise high.